Blue Period. You may not have heard of this anime, but you definitely know this YOASOBI song that was inspired by it. Blue Period follows the artistic awakening of a high school student, Yaguchi. He had been an academically and socially successful student his entire life. Yet, he feels a persistent emptiness. But that sense of emptiness vanishes for the first time when he realizes he can express his internal world through his art. So at the age of 16, Yaguchi finally found his path. Yet art is not an easy path. His only chance of being able to afford art school is to get into Tokyo University of the Arts. It is a public university, but also one of the most competitive art universities in the nation. To prepare himself for the entrance exam, Yaguchi signs up for a prep school. There, he meets Takahashi. Takahashi is what most will consider a genius. Despite his social awkwardness, you can tell from his work that he had lived and breathed art for years. At the prep school, Yaguchi feels an immense pressure to catch up to the other students who had been making art their entire lives. Such pressure piled up and eventually broke Yaguchi during a conversation between him and Takahashi.
何でも持ってる人がこっちに来んなよ。美術じゃなくてもよかったくせに。
Yaguchi knows that choosing art means abandoning the safer future that his academic talent could easily secure. But he nevertheless picked this harder path because nothing makes him feel more alive than art. However, at this moment, Takahashi invalidates all the hard work and commitment Yaguchi had put into his work. Yaguchi understands that his work had failed to communicate the depth of his need for art. Through tears, he concludes that the only solution is to create art that is so undeniable that no one could question it. Underlying this breakdown is Yaguchi's growing awareness of the harsh gap between effort and talent. Throughout his journey thus far, he had repeatedly confronted the uncomfortable thought that he will never be able to catch up to the geniuses around him. And Takahashi represents that reality to him. He is someone who has skills that seems to come effortlessly. But if you look at the situation from Takahashi's perspective, Yaguchi becomes the genius. Yaguchi has everything Takahashi lacks: social skills, friendships, academic success, and the ability to function comfortably in society. Making art is the one domain where Takahashi feels he has value. So when he sees Yaguchi enter that same space, it feels like encroachment. Why would someone who already has so many options choose to compete in the one area where he has an advantage? In this sense, their conflict is rooted in mutual misunderstanding. Takahashi sees Yaguchi as a person who is casually visiting the world of art. Yaguchi, on the other hand, views Takahashi as a blessed genius who cannot understand the weight of starting from nothing. Artist creates art as a way to communicate their inner thoughts to the outer world. Yet it's also art that created the misunderstanding between these two people who are deeply into the craft. An artist's journey will always be fueled by insecurity, admiration, and rivalry. But none of these will suffice in negating each artist's deep desire to be understood.